before tomorrow's matchup. We have head coach Brenda Frese and Saylor Poffenbarger on. We'll go ahead and let coach start us off with an opening statement, and then we'll take questions for Saylor.
Yeah, obviously another big game for us in conference play. They all are. We're excited to have another ranked opponent on national TV and a whiteout game here at Maryland. So these are the games, a reason a lot of these kids come here to play against the best and be on the biggest stage. We all know that it starts with Juju, number two in the country in blocks, third in the country in scoring, and both her and Kiki are very difficult matchups. They've got tremendous bigs that rebound at a really high rate, but another great opponent for us. Where this is the games that our girls, our women love to be a part of, and we're looking forward to the matchup.
We will use the raise hand function for questions for Saylor first. Go ahead, Kareem.
Mm-mm. Hey, hey. Oh, we're doing Sailor first?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Oh, no, all good. Just wanted to make sure. Hey, hey, what's up, Sailor?
Hi.
Um, Quick question. Brenda just kind of mentioned it. This is a team that puts up a lot of points, that hits the boards pretty hard. Just from a defensive standpoint, what are a few things that are top of mind that, hey, you got to keep in the forefront and to battle against a pretty good twosome that's got some size also.
Yeah, I think just focusing on the head of the snake, Juju's a really great player. I mean, she has great players around her, but we're gonna have to, keep her. We're gonna have to, contain her, but also she's gonna get tough shots. But I think going against a team like this with players like this is what, like Coach Free says, what we come here to do. And I think it's just gonna continue to show the toughness and resilience that our team has, and we're just really excited.
And just one quick follow up, you guys have been one of the best rebounding teams in the country in the league. But so are they. Is there a key to making sure you guys control the boards?
Yeah, I think just being really intentional about the little things, making sure we hit our man, box out, and crash the boards every possession is going to be really crucial. But I think that the way that they do it is just as good as we do it. So I think just focusing on the little things that have kept us, as one of the top rebounding teams this far, will continue to, keep us with like doing good with the rebounding.
Cool, cool. Thank you.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Hey, Sailor. Just to kind of touch on what Brenda was talking about, and you also touched on, I mean, top 10 matchup, whiteout game. How much, as somebody who's from this area, how much is it exciting to you to kind of have this prospect of top 10 game in Maryland and sort of excitement really infused in this program, especially on Wednesday night?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a high energy game, high energy atmosphere, and I think like she said, this is why I came to Maryland. And so being able to play for my state and, play on national television against a great team is just going to be super exciting. I know we're all excited, and we're excited to see everyone that shows out.
Go ahead, Howard.
Thanks, Rose. Sailor, thanks for taking the time. Curious from a rebounding perspective, this Maryland team is fourth in the country in rebound rate. What is it that has allowed you guys to reach that elite level? Because it's across the board. There's not anyone who's just sort of the particular standout in this. It's just you guys are doing it collectively.
Well, I mean, we work it every day in practice. I think it's been a big point of emphasis. We do a lot of box out drills. We do a lot of rebounding drills, and I think, like I just said, like the little things matter. Hitting a man every time, not letting your specific player get past you to get that rebound. But it comes down to kind of like a grit thing. It's like who wants it more, and I think that we've shown that rebounding is really important to us, and just continuing to practice that. It's shown in the games.
And just related to your own growth here, since entering the starting lineup, it seems like you found another level. Can you just kind of take me through how that changes the way you approach things and whether you think it allows you to play at a different level as well?
Yeah, I think it honestly just came with getting my legs back. Dealing with a lower leg injury prior to season. I think it wasn't necessarily coming into the starting lineup. I think this is what I've been able to do, but I think it just came with, getting the speed of the game back, getting my legs back, and getting comfortable and trusting myself again.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Edley.
Saylor, I'm assuming that being undefeated is nothing new to you since you played at UConn, but how do you and your teammates treat this being one of five teams that are still in the country without a loss?
We approach every game the same. I think, you can get a little hot and heavy when you sit there and think like you're one of the few undefeated teams. But I think going into every game, you don't really think about the games prior to that. Like they build confidence, but every game is just as important as another. So I think coming into this, we're at the same level as them. We're both undefeated, but I mean, we both also have a lot to play for. So I think just keeping our point of emphasis in front and not, getting too excited or too confident is just big for us.
And then Wednesday's game is the start of a six-game stretch where you face four teams in the top 10, USC, Texas, Ohio State, and then UCLA. For you and your teammates, is this perhaps the biggest test? And is this something that you guys embrace?
Yes, I think it's definitely going to be a test. It'll show, what we're made of. And I think that it's only going to prepare us for the NCAA tournament. Yeah, it's tough, but we also play in one of the best conferences or we play in the best conference in the country. So I think, these are the nights that prepare us for April and March. And that's we're ultimately where we want to be.
Obviously, a season is not just built around six games, but um, if you guys do well in these games, is there a sense that maybe you send a message to the rest of the country?
Yeah, I think every night we want to send a message to the country, and every game we play, we want to, send something out to the people watching. And I think, it'll show our resilience and our toughness. And I mean, no matter the outcome, just our ability to bounce back, I have no doubt. And I have a bunch of confidence in this team.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kyle. Last one for Saylor.
Yeah, just the fact that this is a conference game, I know there's been a ton of realignment. I know that you've moved around a little bit. But do conference games carry the same meaning or the same weight, or does it just feel like sort of every week you're facing a big opponent, big game, and maybe the conferences, especially as they've, expanded and changed, just don't feel the same as that maybe they once did.
Yeah, I think honestly, just women's basketball in general has grown so much that a lot of these conferences have just, gotten very powerful. And I think being in the Big Ten, like I said, the best conference, it's why for me I wanted to come play in the Big Ten. But I think it's not necessarily you're like, oh, we have a conference game tonight. It's definitely a big game, but I think it's also really cool to just see how women's basketball has come along and how much talent there is across the board.
All right. Thank you, Saylor. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and take questions for Coach Frese. Go ahead, Kareem.
Hey, Brenda, how are you?
Hey, Kareem, great.
Um, you touched on it and Saylor did a little bit also, the significance of this game, even though, you guys have played so many big games, throughout your time here but this new Big Ten, the number four team in the country, first time that you guys have kind of gotten them here under these circumstances. Do you allow, you're not shying away from the fact that it's a big game. So what's kind of like that balance between embracing the significance of something a little bit different, a game of such magnitude, but at the same time not letting it, be too much and not putting too much on it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, I think our approach is the same. I mean, it's the next game on our calendar on January 8th. And yeah, I mean, everybody knows what it is. And to have Juju coming into town and a really talented team. But in the scheme of everything, it's where we're at this level of play to help make us better in our pursuit. No different than our non-conference when we've had the likes of UConn and South Carolina and all these big opponents. We embrace it. We're a top 10 opponent ourselves. So I know, this team is highly, highly competitive and excited. They love playing in games like this, just like being at Iowa. They loved playing in that environment. You saw that with the arena, all against them. And so just, another phenomenal matchup just in our elite conference.
We've talked so much about the defense and the length of this team. Is this one of those games where it feels like that will really kind of come into play against a team that's got some bigger scores?
Yeah, I think both teams, are going to be evenly matched when it comes to length and size. So, and two tremendous defensive teams. I think you see that from both ends of the floor. So, it could be a high scoring game, it could be a low scoring game. It's hard to say, what's gonna win out because I think you have two elite teams that the reason why they are ranked in the top 10 is because of their elite level offense as well as defense.
And just one last one. Without giving up the game plan, are there just a couple keys that you're like, okay, we've got to make sure we take care of X?
Yeah, you're not going to stop Juju. I think you got to, make her work to take difficult shots. And no question, this is two elite level rebounding teams. They are really big, inside and on the glass. And so that, mentality on the glass is going to be big for both teams.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Howard.
Hi, Brenda. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Howard.
Two, if I could. The first one just specifically to Kennedy Smith, and as you've gone over film, and what have you seen from her? She's obviously been particularly disruptive on the defensive end. Just your early impressions.
Yeah, so talented when you talk about just a freshman, and you can see as she's gotten back in the lineup, just what she's been able to do to elevate that team from a defensive end, her length, her athleticism, and then just again another massive piece on the perimeter with her size and athleticism alone.
And then just bigger picture, it seems like you said, these events happen and they happen in women's basketball, but it seems like they're coming closer together chronologically, right? In terms of the sellout crowds are happening more often, on the road, at home. I just wonder whether you feel like this has become the new normal and whether you think this is becoming the new normal because this game has become nationalized.
Yeah, I do. I think you said it best. I mean, it does feel like the new normal because you're consistently seeing it in these arenas, whether you are at home or go on the road. Fans are more educated. They're watching social media and television. The national exposure has definitely has more eyes on it, and I think it's an exciting time to be in our game. And so it is, as someone who, came into this game with empty arenas to where it is, it's very rewarding and satisfying to see these young women, being able to, have these moments.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, Brenda.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Kyle.
Um, you know, a lot of the sport right now, I mean, so much of the marketing, it seems like individuals in college basketball have never been, bigger brands, more popular. Juju is obviously, getting a ton of success and exposure. In that environment, I mean, when you look at your team, and even though Kayleen is having a great scoring season, it seems like there's a lot of really even contributions really up and down your roster. How challenging is it and to kind of build sort of appeal for players to kind of build great teams like there were in the past, and what do you think is special about this particular group that has gotten them to bind so quickly for you?
Yeah, I love the fact that we're not just built around one player. It's a team sport for a reason, and that's been, when we won a national championship in '06, we had five players averaging in double figures. We're right around that with this year's team, and it's always been the formula for our success. And then that way everyone shines. They all put in a ton of time, and I wouldn't want to be centered, around one player because they all put their time in, and I think that's the great thing is they all get to utilize their brand, now in this NIL era and with the exposure, you have a roster where people know our roster, and it's and they know the players on this team. So I do think that's an exciting way that you can see the players that have come into our program. They're about winning, and there's a big reason why we're 14-0. Right now, and because they've all bought into, one another. And, it's the ultimate, reason why you should be in a team sport. So, it's satisfying to see.
And one more, if you don't mind. You know, obviously Cheyenne's been around for a bunch of big games, and even your incoming transfers have played for big programs in big games. What do you think that adds to preparation for a top 10 game like this? And does it feel like maybe in your room there's more experience or more sort of metal when you're preparing for high profile contest?
Yeah, I've always said, when your teams have those type of experiences, then they don't even flinch. When you go far into the postseason, you don't have the, quite the nerves when you know what it takes every round in postseason play. So the fact that we do have a really experienced roster and players that have, are built for this moment and have played in these type of games and matchups, definitely, I think, aids and helps your team, in this environment.
Go ahead, Ed.
Brenda, I was wondering, how do you view this next 6 game stretch? Do you look at it as maybe a barometer of this team's potential?
I do. To be honest with you, when you rattled off those games, I'm really, I was like, wow, didn't realize that was out ahead because you're just so focused on the day and the task at hand and the team ahead of you. So, it really is one game at a time, and we're not going to get too high or too low out of any of it. It's, like I said, it's January 7th, and for us, it's, just continuing to get better every single time we step out. So again, love where our conference is built and add in the non-conference game of Texas into that. But they're all just going to be opportunities for us here in January to see, where we're at, to learn a lot of lessons and to help us for, February and March as we build through it. But a lot of great matchups, exciting games that really aren't going to, dictate what's going to happen. It's just, our process of where we feel like we're headed. And I think that's the exciting thing is, it'll continue to help us learn and grow to be better for what lies out ahead.
And then, over these next 6 games, what are you hoping to learn about your team?
Again, I think, I've learned a lot already, and I think this group is really, really competitive. And so, I think, when you're playing these kind of teams, these top 10 matchups, I mean, there's going to be that 1% of, what do you really need to hone in on, and whether that's your defense, your rebounding, your offensive execution. Those are all the things, and I could go on and on of where you really need to fine tune. So every time we learned a lot about ourselves in Iowa. We still got to play a 40-minute game. And, I mean, you continue to kind of want to build those habits every time you step out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Kareem.
Thank you. Just one last one quickie for me.
Yep.
I'm just, how are you kind of evaluating and what do you think about Sarah Tibiasu's progress so far? Some of the other transfers kind of have had big moments, but she's kind of been kind of steady Eddie there, and I'm just curious how you feel she's kind of fit in, how she's growing, how she's fit into all this and where she is right now.
Yeah. I think little twofold. I think she's definitely done a phenomenal job, running our offense. She really is our calming force. Really kind of keeps everyone when we're, you saw us lose a little bit of our poise and composure against Iowa. And I thought even late game in that fourth quarter when I got her in, she was able to settle us down. I still think you haven't seen some of her best scoring, and that's an area that we've talked about that I know is growing and improving. But she's got so many elite level scorers around her as well. She's just kind of setting the table for them and taking care of the basketball. So it's kind of just finding that fine line. But she's still going to have some of those breakout games for us here out ahead because she's an elite level scorer that people are going to see.
Boom. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate you all. Appreciate your time, and we will see you all tomorrow, or most of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you.